Dear viewers, this is Shashank and you're watching HW News English. Welcome to this special live. Echo हो रहा है. Echo. Dear viewers, this is Shashank and you're watching HW News English. Welcome to this special live. Today we are going to discuss about the Shiv Sena versus Shiv Sena case, because today the Supreme Court has given a deadline to the Maharashtra Assembly Speaker. So the Supreme Court today asked the Maharashtra Assembly Speaker Rahul Narvekar to announce his decision regarding the rival Shiv Sena factions disqualification petitions by December 2023, 31st December 2023, and the NCP disqualification petitions by January 31st, 2024. So to know more regarding this case, what can happen, what are the possible scenarios, we have with us consultant editor of HW News Network, Mr. Sanjay Jog. Sanjay sir, thank you very much for joining in.
Yeah.
Sir, can you explain us what exactly the Supreme Court said in simple words?
Yeah. Just to tell the viewers and the readers, what is the first case about? The case is about the disqualification of 16 MLAs of the regular Shiv Sena, means which was led by Uddhav Thackeray, who deserted the leader and the party basically to join hands with the BJP to form the government. They included Eknath Shinde and 15 others. So, Uddhav Thackeray-led camp had already filed petition for the disqualification of this 16th legislator. So, this has been going on at the level of the Supreme Court, and then after the Supreme Court judgment, it has been referred to the Speaker. But subsequently, because of the dilly-dallying, alleged dilly-dallying or the delay from the Speaker, Uddhav Thackeray camp had approached Supreme Court and has urged that the Supreme Court should intervene and to see that the Speaker will hold the hearings as early as possible and the matter is settled. So this is the case which is happening right now. So based on this, like about a few days before, the Supreme Court bench led by the Chief Justice had told the Speaker, Mr. Rahul Narvekar, to come out with a credible timetable for the disposal of the disqualification petitions and hold the hearings on a regular basis. What had happened is that, and they had clearly given the time, that is on 30th, today's date, October. So accordingly, the case came up for hearing, and when the Solicitor General, Tushar Mehta, who was appearing on behalf of Speaker, gave a kind of a timeline saying that because of the Diwali vacation, because of the Christmas, because of the winter session which is going to happen in the December, from maybe 7th of December till 28th of December, there will be a limited time for holding this hearing in that period. So it will be stretched further until up to about February next year, to which Supreme Court candidly kind of said, nothing doing, you have to clear all those petitions, hear them out and give the judgment by or before December 31st. I think this is nothing but a kind of an ultimatum given by the Supreme Court to Mr. Narvekar, who is now as a tribunal, number one. Number two, now what are the possibilities? What can happen in future? As everybody knows, under the Constitution of India, there is an executive, there is a legislature, then there is a judiciary. General, the customs and traditions hereby go that nobody generally encroach on anybody's territory. Say, for example, executive is autonomous, legislature is autonomous, so also the judiciary. But now what will happen if this kind of an ultimatum has been given by the Supreme Court? Mr. Narvekar, now in his capacity as a tribunal, will have to adhere to the deadline which has been given by the Supreme Court. Number one option. Second option, as I told you, these three bodies are definitely supreme, autonomous under the Constitution of India. So, in that scenario, the speaker may turn down and simply will not accept, reject politely, and just go ahead with whatever timetable he has structured to complete this entire process. Third, very interesting. Then, in what happened in that case? What will happen? The Supreme Court Chief Justice, Mr. Chandrachud, during the hearing categorically said, he don't compel the Supreme Court to decide the matter and give its judgment on the disqualification. So this is the third option. Means A, the speaker, who is now a tribunal, will have to accept the Supreme Court order of which was given today. B, as I told you, all these three pillars are autonomous, important under the Constitution of India. Then the speaker may just simply turn down the Supreme Court's order and go ahead with whatever timetable he has already chalked out, because citing the time, what the legal modalities which are involved, and as I told you, because of the vacations and the winter session which is happening, so he will go by whatever the timetable that he has structured. And the third, very interestingly, the Supreme Court will say nothing doing. Now, please don't force us to take the action or a decision. We are giving you the judgment. I think these are the three major possibilities that at this point in time we can consider what will happen to this case. Now, let's talk about what is happening politically now. It's quite interesting. Eknath Shinde-led government basically is waiting and watching very carefully, as nobody wants to come out in open right now, because when Mr. Shambhuraj Desai, who is a very close confidant of Eknath Shinde, who is an excise minister from Satara district, was asked by the reporters and media persons, he said he tries to be elusive, because he said, I have not read the judgment, I have not seen what has been happening at the court level. So I would definitely like to comment only after I get to know something very worthy about it. So right now, nobody has come on the record basically giving all the details, what will be the scenario that is emerging. On the other hand, even Uddhav Thackeray led this thing, Shiv Sena, is maybe in a few hours or maybe in few minutes, they will give their formal reaction in this regard. But they are definitely charged up with today's Supreme Court's intervention, as they have been repeatedly alleging that the speaker is sitting on their petitions. There are about 34 petitions, and he is just biding the time. They want that it should be expedited and the case should be disposed of. That's very interesting when it comes to Maharashtra politics. Against that backdrop, look at it. Just yesterday or day before yesterday, newspapers as well as certain section of media were flooded with one of the news which is very interesting. Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, who is a deputy chief minister, which unfortunately has got no constitutional validity. He is just a cabinet minister in the Shinde-led Council of Ministers, has given an interview and a statement saying that if at all Mr. Shinde is disqualified by the after the disposal of the petitions, then there is an alternate kind of a plan B which is ready with them, saying that he will be elected through the Legislative Council, which is known as the upper house in Maharashtra, and so that he can continue as the chief minister. So, but that has raised a lot of questions. So, do you mean to say that that's a general question being asked within even the Mahayuti, is that okay, this is just not a matter of Mr. Shinde. If Mr. Shinde is going to be rehabilitated, what will happen to the remaining 15 and also the remaining other 15, 16, because they are claiming about total 40, the erstwhile Shiv Sena United legislators. In addition to that, there are about 10 independents. So what will happen to their fate? That's a quite interesting, question that is being discussed politically in Maharashtra. So by and large, today's judgment has been definitely a kind of a major blow to the speaker here. Now, let us see. It's kind of wait and watch. What will the action that he can take? The second part now, similar petition has been filed by the Sharad Pawar-led camp as well as Ajit Pawar-led camp with the basically with the speaker about the disqualification. Sharad Pawar-led camp has filed petitions against 9, those who have been sworn in as a minister. Right now, they are in the Council of Ministers led by Mr. Shinde, which includes Ajit Pawar and 8 others. Why can't they be disqualified? As they have not only deserted, but they have also bypassed the anti-defection law, as well as they have breached the 10th schedule provision of the Constitution of India. So they have also gone in petition with the speaker. So that is also pending, and the Sharad Pawar-led camp has also approached the Supreme Court seeking its direction for basically early disposal of its petition. So also Ajit Pawar-led camp has also filed the similar petitions against these 8-9 who those who have remained with Mr. Sharad Pawar. On that petition, the Supreme Court today clearly said that Speaker needs to dispose of this petition by January 31st. So, putting it together, one petition, set of petition was between both the Thackeray camps, while the other set of petitions are between two power, factions. So I think now, very interestingly, the role of speaker is going to be again very important, crucial in deciding the matter. We will have to wait and watch what official stand Mr. Speaker, that is Mr. Rahul Navrekar, is going to take, because so far he has yet to give his formal reaction. Shashank, I think this discussion will go on after even what Mr. Narvekar decides kind of a future course of action. Till that, this is the scenario which has emerged post Supreme Court judgment.
Sanjay sir, the Supreme Court gave the decision in the Speaker's Court on May 10th, 2022. So don't you think 6 months is enough time to decide?
No, I think we cannot discuss about that, because ultimately there are so many nitty-gritties, technicalities, legal issues involved. As a journalist, our job is basically to follow the development. What I can say, because this kind of talk can be possible only by the political parties. They can go on making claims and counterclaims, allegations and counterclaims or allegations. We are not supposed to do that. As a journalist, I will go by what has happened. You rightly said, the judgment from the Supreme Court on the overall matter of Eknath Shinde versus Subhash Desai came up in May. Thereafter, Speaker was told to decide the matter in a quote-unquote reasonable time, but that reasonable time was not specified. And that's why, Uddhav Thackeray camp had approached Supreme Court again, seeking the directions to the Speaker to expedite the matter. I think at this point in time, I won't be in a position to say whether 6 months or 8 months are enough, or whether, another 10 months are required. I think we'll have to give a time to the Speaker. But as per the Supreme Court's today's order, it's kind of, very interesting, very candidly and clearly, they have given a deadline of December 31st. So we'll have to see and wait and watch, and also follow what kind of, roadmap Mr. Speaker is going to decide, whether he will go by that, whether he will abide, or whether he will go as per his own schedule. I think I don't want to comment on whether the time was limited or time was enough to decide the matter. I think we have to left it to the Speaker, because ultimately, he is also one of the very constitutional body to which we are not supposed to make any kind of an aspersions or observations.
Sanjay sir, you just said that Devendra Fadnavis, while speaking to a television channel, had said that he expressed confidence that Eknath Shinde won't be disqualified if you see the laws. And even if he gets disqualified, then he can remain Chief Minister after he gets elected as MLC. That is member of Legislative Council. So how do you see this statement as? Because there is something more than what he is saying. There can be
Shashank,
various interpretations to what he.
Yeah, Mr. Fadnavis's statement has got not just the BJP, but the so-called Mahayuti leaders unaware. Nobody had thought of, such kind of statement coming in from Mr. Fadnavis. While speaking to them in privately, most of the legislators cutting across, like from Ajit Pawar camp or Eknath Shinde camp or part of BJP. I mean, they are confused. And what has triggered Mr. Fadnavis to make the statement? And it has also started a churn within these three parties. Is there any kind of a possibility that Mr. Shinde and 15 will be disqualified? I mean, even though this entire case is being heard yet, even though as the Supreme Court thing was to hear this matter today, what has triggered Mr. Fadnavis to make a statement just 2 days ahead of it? So this is a really very interesting question. Is there any kind of a possibility which is being discussed, even though BJP as well as Mr. Shinde go on repeatedly telling till next election, Mr. Shinde is going to be the chief minister. Till next election, there won't be any kind of a post which is lying vacant for the chief minister, as which is already be filled in the form of Mr. Shinde, and all those news of becoming, I mean, Mr. Fadnavis as the chief minister again, or Mr. Ajit Pawar as the chief minister. They are all rumors, and they don't believe in that. But really, it's really quite interesting to analyze what has triggered Mr. Fadnavis to even, kind of discuss this option, that if at all, I mean, quite interesting. One of his statement in the same interview says that we have taken a decision while scrutinizing, examining all the legal provisions, and then only he has been chosen as the chief minister or to lead the government, Mahayuti government. And then in one of the questions he says, if at all there is a possibility, if he is disqualified, then the plan B is ready. He will be getting elected through the upper house and can continue as the chief minister. I think this entire, his statements and the timing has no doubt raised a lot of questions within the Mahayuti. How are they going to discuss it? How are they going to take it forward? We have to give some time, and after discussing with them, it will be interesting to know some kind of more details that can be discussed in due course of time.
Sanjay sir, previously as well, a lot of times the Supreme Court slammed the speaker in previous sessions, previous court hearings. However, he did not give a reasonable timeline. The timeline which he had offered, the Supreme Court did not accept it. Rather, they slammed the speaker, saying that he's giving interviews and he's not giving the timeline. And then finally today Supreme Court has given a deadline of 31st December for Shiv Sena and 31st January for the NCP. However, what can happen if the speaker fails to give his decision before the deadline?
No. I just spoke to a couple of the senior officials from the Law and Judiciary Department. They don't want to come on record, but unofficially, informally, they tell us, Mr. Speaker will have no alternative but to accept as being a tribunal the Supreme Court's order. If he does not, then he is on his own. He may go ahead with his schedule. So I think, we'll have to, I mean, everybody is guessing what will happen. Nobody knows. Till the speaker comes out in black and white and tells us, this is the thing that I'm going to follow, I am not. These are the limitations based on which I will continue with whatever timetable which I have chalked, and then only I will be able to give, that's what he said, in one of the very quotable quotes he gave after the last hearing, is that, as there is a saying, justice is delayed if justice is denied. So he said, justice hurried is justice buried. So he does not want to get himself, being coined in that manner. So he will take any decision not in a haste or in hurry, but give enough time to all the parties to argue and counter-argue, and then only he will be able to pass the judgment. So at this point in time, we are also observing what will be his roadmap, how he is going to take up this Supreme Court order, and what will be the future course of action that he is going to follow. So we are unable to basically, at this point in time, to make any kind of observation whether he will do it or whether he will not do it. We'll have to wait and watch till he really comes on the record and gives his future course of action.
Sanjay sir, what can change politically? What can be the political scenario if things go against the Ajit Pawar faction and the Eknath Shinde faction?
Shashank,
will it affect the mood in Lok Sabha? What I'm asking is that.
No. That's what I'm telling you repeatedly. there is some kind of a restlessness which is definitely visible in the BJP camp, and so also with Shinde camp and Ajit Pawar camp. No doubt about that. But as their own very senior learned legislators told me, boss, we have with us Mahashakti. You know who is Mahashakti. So they are confident that the judgments will come in their favor and they will sail through. But I don't want to attribute to any kind of this thing because they are not speaking on record. They are just giving us an informal kind of observation, which I don't think carry a kind of a legal weightage. But this is the mood. On the one hand, there is growing restlessness. On the other hand, there is a kind of a feeling that with Mahashakti on their side, everything will be settled. I think we'll have to wait and watch. It's not a time to further make any kind of a political analysis, because we don't know on what basis we can have an some kind of a kite flying, which I don't want to indulge into. But the general thing right now is that this is the thing which has emerged with the Supreme Court judgment. We'll have to wait and watch what kind of a line the speaker will take, and then as he proceeds, then and then only we will be able to make further argument or a further analysis based on what will be his line of action.
Sanjay sir, one last question. I know this live is related to the Shiv Sena and NCP Supreme Court decision. However, this is a very big news that is coming in. That is the NCP MLA Prakash Solanke's house has been vandalized and set on fire by Maratha quota activists. So, can you shed some light, because this protest is now increasing, and with Manoj Jarange Patil entering the 6th day of his hunger strike. Now, what we saw on television as well, that his health is deteriorating day by day. Now, NCP leaders beat residents getting vandalized and set on fire. How do you see that as?
No, Shashank, I have covered. You may not be aware, the Maratha Kranti Morcha had organized very peaceful 58 marches in 2016 onwards up to 2018. They were all peaceful, barring from one or two some minor incidents. Right now, as Mr. Manoj Jarange Patil has taken a very aggressive posture, saying that nothing doing, we had given 40 days, as you had sought. Now, what has stopped you from giving us a Kunbi certificate and a Maratha reservation? I think that has triggered a kind of a very, very dissension against this government. And all those pro-Maratha reservation activists, basically largely youths, are hitting the street. They have already started, kind of no cooperation, basically, or are not allowing the elected representatives to move around, to have their own functions being held. And they are really furious about that. And as a part of that, today, Prakash Solanke, who is also a former state minister, whose house in Bid district was smashed badly. Interestingly, or rather fortunately, nobody has hurt, nobody has injured. Mr. Solanke has come on the record, but he has also candidly said and clearly that there has been a huge damage to the property. And I think based on that and a couple of other incidents, Mr. Shinde, who attended the meeting with the Justice Sandeep Shinde-led committee today in the morning, after that he had a press conference and taking a very serious note of this violence which is happening across the state. He has urged all pro-Maratha activists to maintain peace and thereby help maintaining law and order in Maharashtra. He said the Maharashtra government is very much committed to provide reservation which will stand the legal scrutiny, and that's what he is saying. The first report of the Sandeep Shinde-led committee, which has been submitted to them, will be placed before the cabinet, which is happening tomorrow, and they will clear it. Accordingly, they can decide of giving, Kunbi certificates to Maratha that will pacify, those agitators. So at this point in time, the government definitely is on an action mode. They are definitely looking at it and, on a vigil, taking this all the incidents of violence, stone pelting, roughing up, manhandling of the elected representatives very seriously, and they want to act, but they neither want to take any kind of a stern action like last time what had happened on recently when the Lathi Charge took place in the same location in Jalna district where Manoj Jarange was on fast. that led to a huge kind of a controversy, and the government went on back foot or defensive. Ultimately, the Home Minister, Mr. Fadnavis, had to tender an apology. So I think government does not want to take any kind of a similar action that may lead to further violence and law and order problem. But as you rightly said, this kind of incident is definitely a major cause of concern, both for the state and also for those who are staging this agitation. And that's why Mr. Shinde has reiterated to maintain peace and calm.
Also, a lot of leaders from the government have been prohibited from entering villages of Maratha communities. So, how do we view this as?
No, Shashank, this is definitely a strategy. You know what has happened? Manoj Jarange taking it like a do or die stand on Maratha reservation issue. This is the 6th day. Yesterday, one of the very kind of passionate, this thing moment. One of the supporters who had gone to meet him just to respect him and to adhere to his love and affection, he drank water. Otherwise, he has already decided that neither he will touch water, neither he will go, or nor he will go for any kind of a medical treatment. And that's why, because of the stand that he has been repeatedly saying, I'm not doing it for my own family, but I'm taking this entire stand only to benefit the entire Maratha community. And that has really attracted lakhs and lakhs of Maratha community leaders, followers, youth to him, and they are also hitting the streets and giving this call of like non-cooperation, a kind of what we call as not allowing the legislative assembly and council members as well as the MPs and those other elected body representatives to move around and conduct their own programs. I think this is all just to put it very aggressively how they are serious about a restoration of the Maratha reservation, which was scrapped by the Supreme Court in 2021, and they want it should be further restored in no time. But as Mr. Shinde, as Mr. Ajit Pawar, or Mr. Fadnavis have been telling, although the government is resolved and committed to give the reservation to Maratha community, but they don't want to take any decision in haste, as it may again boomerang on the government, and that reservation may not pass the legal scrutiny, and that's why they want to do all the possible legal, administrative, these steps and whatever necessary, like say compilation of a data, then the scrutiny, and then only they want to put before the Supreme Court. This is the thing based on which we have arrived, and based on the empirical data that we have collected, we definitely seeing strongly that Marathas reservation should be restored and they should be given justice. I think on this point of time, the major concern is that Mr. Jarange Patil's health should not further deteriorate. Also, the violence and the law and order related problems should be curbed, and they should not flare up, so that the Maharashtra will definitely be in news for, unfortunately, such kind of incidents. And thirdly, while doing so, the state government already has been taking care of all the necessary issues, looking at the administrative and legal issues. They will also be in touch. In fact, they will have to further their efforts basically to be in touch with all those pro-Maratha reservation activists and try to pacify them, try to keep them in a good humor so that the situation is not worsened. So I think by and large, I strongly feel the government is definitely it's like a catch-22 situation, because although they are committed to, but there is nothing that they can do right in point, because even though they give just certificate, Kunbi certificate, that's not going to solve the problem, because Mr. Jarange Patil now wants the entire community to be given reservation, which is not in the hand of government. So I think we'll have to wait and watch and evolve and what will happen if Mr. Jarange Patil continues to remain adamant on this issue, or whether the state government will be able to pacify him, urge him to withdraw his fast till the other actions are taken. Because Mr. Shinde also talked about the curative petition, which is pending before the Supreme Court. Supreme Court has also indicated that they may take it up for hearing. That's another option. That is a legal option that government is exploring. So, putting it together, the Sandeep Shinde-led committee's report, they have given another extension. I mean, one extension up to December. So, but at the same time, the first report is ready, which will be taken up and cleared at tomorrow's meeting. Based on that, some certificates will be given to certain Marathas, basically from Marathwada and other regions. And at the same time, the government is following the curative petition. So these are the 4 angles on which we can discuss what's happening in case of Maratha reservation in Maharashtra.
Sanjay sir, it is also being said that the BJP's top brass has clearly asked the state leadership to handle the problem on their own and not approach the top brass, the central leadership. So, how do you see that as?
No. Very interestingly, Mr. Fadnavis has been constantly, that's my information from BJP sources, has been in touch with the central leadership of BJP, giving the day-to-day and timely assessment of what is happening at the ground level when it comes to Maratha reservation. But, try to understand, Shashank, at this point in time, there are 5 assembly elections that are taking place. There is still time for a winter session of the parliament to take place. Also, immediately, neither the government of India nor the state government can come out with any kind of ordinance basically to provide the reservation to Maratha. These are all issues that just cannot be, neglected. We have to take them into account. So, Mr. Jarange Patil may be right on his stand and in his position, but these are the legal, administrative, and other, limitations on which the decision of restoration of Maratha is basically a reservation is pending and dependent on. So at this point in time, the central leadership of BJP, though is very much attentive about what is happening in Maharashtra, but they are certainly not in a position to direct this way or that way, because it may also lead to some kind of a political controversy, which they don't want to have it at this point in time, where the elections of the 5 assembly are happening, and at the same time, the situation should not worsen, because Jarange Patil and other pro-Maratha reservation activists are not in a mood to listen to the government. So I think they want this issue should be discussed, debated with the concerned stakeholders. As Mr. Shinde has said, a group of the Mr. Jarange Patil's supporters are coming for discussion tomorrow. So I think Mr. Shinde and the government is looking at it from a positive point of view, and they strongly feel that they will be able to convince them, tell them the government's commitment. I think we'll have to wait for that.
Sanjay sir, at that point, I think we can end this live session. Thank you very much for joining in. Viewers, we hope we could provide you with insights regarding the Maratha quota agitation and the Supreme Court's comments on the Sena versus Sena and NCP disqualification petitions. For the Supreme Court has directed the Speaker that he has to announce his decision before December 31st regarding the Shiv Sena case, and January 31st, 2024 regarding the NCP rival faction disqualification case. So we are going to keep you posted regarding any updates. If you feel like you want to know more about any topic, you can let us know in the comment section about what topics we can do such live sessions. We will definitely do more such live sessions to bring you new insights. But for that, you have to subscribe to HW News English.
Thank you.